Welcome to Solve It Like a Marketer and January's Q&A edition. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so that you get notified of new upcoming episodes. Catch you in a moment. All right, so before we get into the nitty-gritty, I'll start with a positive. So Marilyn wrote to me and said, very helpful and professional videos. Please continue making these educational videos. And thank you very much for that. I do get quite a lot of comments on the positive side. A lot of students that are trying to study for business courses or marketing courses. And what I hope is that I'm able to provide these fairly short and concise explanations. So you can kind of just watch it in 5 minutes and get the answer that you need. And as always, if there are some topics that you would like me to cover, please mention that in the comments below, and I will get to that. Next up is Nikolai. Now, Nikolai points out that he says, in my opinion, at the moment, there is complete confusion in companies in terms of the role and responsibilities of marketers, because most of the companies only think of operational or functional marketing as such, when in fact, marketing equals business strategy. And you know what? I am totally with you there. First off, one of the things that I battle is this word marketing, or let's say marketer. I think that people, when they hear the word, I'm a marketer, it still has a bit of a negative connotation to it. It still has that hard sell approach. I'm going to be selling you something. When in actual fact, marketing over the decades has really evolved, and there's some of them still do the hard sell, but now it's a much more methodical approach. And also, most importantly, really analyzing your customer base and listening to your customers. This is something that advertising and commercials never did before back in, the 50s and 60s. As I always say, it was more of a hit you over the head marketing. Repeat, repeat, repeat until people are brainwashed and literally buy something. But now people are much more savvy. And what I find is that because as marketers, we need to be able to understand what a company stands for or what an organization stands for. And marketing / business strategy needs to be woven into the very DNA of a company. So it isn't just about, your company objectives are over here and then sort of down the timeline, hand it off to the marketer and they'll just sell it. Everything needs to be integrated. And so I know that for me, I'm battling still this slight negativity towards marketing or the marketer, because a lot of people don't also understand that marketing as a discipline is extremely varied, from marketing research, data analysis, retail marketing, public relations. I mean, there's a lot to it that falls under this umbrella. But Nikolai, I'm really with you. When I work with clients, sometimes I actually do strategic planning with clients, which I find strategic planning also straddles the disciplines. It's a bit of marketing in there when you are looking at a company's mission statement, its core values. So what it really stands for and what it wants to accomplish in the next, say, 5 years. And this, as you can see, is very tied to your marketing strategy. So you know what? We need to fight the good fight and make people realize that as marketers, we also need to be tapped into that business strategy as well. I also had another comment about Kotler and his segmentation methodology. Again, I've done several videos on STP analysis, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And what this viewer wrote is, in my opinion, Kotler and his approach to segmentation should be banned from being taught at all because his approach is incorrect and has already ruined hundreds of companies. This is an interesting one. When I read this, I thought, wow, it's kind of radical. And then I thought to myself, every time, again, I work with clients and we embark on this process of STP, I agree that when you're segmenting your audience, sure, some of it may come from data, but it's partly objective and partly subjective. So you don't always get it completely right. So it's not a sort of a one size fits all. But what I say is that it's a place to start. I do find doing the positioning statement very helpful. I find that this process of segmentation, targeting, and positioning makes organization or forces organizations to think about who they are targeting. At least think about it. Because, some organizations literally throw paint to the wall and hope that it sticks. Just throw money at it. Say they've created a commercial or a public service announcement. Just throw money at it and hopefully it'll make a difference. Well, we need to refine this. My simplest example of STP would be if I was thinking of starting up a dog walking business, okay? Say I live in a city, which I do. I live downtown, which I do, and I want to do a dog walking business. Well, the simplest, I guess, way of thinking of segmentation is, well, who am I going to target first? Because thinking about this is going to affect how I market to them. So my first target audience might be those living in condos, okay? Those living in condos because they don't have a backyard. Also, maybe their age bracket are 30s and 40s. So they may have a full-time job and they have to go to work every day and their dog sits at home and needs to be taken out for a walk, right? So that might be my first target audience. So geographically, they're in the city. Demographically, they are 30s, 40s, certain income. They can afford to pay a few dollars to get their dog walked. Their age demographic is clear. But as a second demographic, I might go for seniors. But my marketing is going to be slightly different because maybe they have mobility issues. Maybe they do live in a house or a condo, but walking the dog, say at 6 o'clock of the morning every day, is difficult for them. So in terms of my messaging, I might reach out to them differently. Also, think about those two groups in terms of the vehicles of marketing that we might use. Seniors, for instance, I might go to the tried and true posters, actually, posters. But for my other demographic of 30s and 40s, I might just hit Instagram. That's a possibility. So I think that writing off segmenting, targeting, and positioning, there is still something to it, but I think that each marketer needs to take this and make it their own and really apply their own intellect to it. It, as I say, it's not a one-size-fits-all, so it needs to be approached carefully. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I have done a couple of interviews with marketing schools. Actually, they're colleges in the Toronto GTA area, and I interviewed a couple of colleges, folks from their marketing program, just to kind of talk through if you are thinking of taking marketing, especially if you happen to be not in Canada. So maybe you're somewhere else in the world. Where do you start? What is the starting point? Which school should you choose? What kind of marketing program? What do the logistics look like in terms of coming to Canada? So I've done 2 of those for now. I might do another. We'll have to see. Let me know. I hope that you do watch those. I think they were pretty helpful, but also give me a shout in the comments and let me know if those were helpful or not, if they answered all of your questions, and if you have others or you'd like me to interview somebody else about marketing programs. Lastly, I wanted to thank all of you for watching and sharing my videos. You know, I spend a lot of time researching these and producing them, and it means a lot that you're actually making use of them. And it's great when I can see comments and see that you are enjoying them. And even when the comments are negative, I mean, even though I propose a lot of different marketing frameworks, I may actually not believe in all of them, right? So what I'm doing is trying to research all of these different marketing frameworks. So for instance, one of them might be helpful to you if you're running a business, or maybe you're taking a course and a framework comes up and you're like, well, I don't know about this. And you read the book and it's terribly complicated. So I'm hopeful that when you watch the video, it may make sense. But as I say, just because I propose a certain methodology, I don't necessarily actually use the methodology. So I'm all about healthy debate. So for those of you that are writing and going, you know what, I don't like this theory, I want to hear from you. And I want to hear from you as to why. So for instance, with the chap that wrote in about Kotler's segmentation and saying it's ruined hundreds of companies, I want to hear about that. That is healthy debate. And you know what? That's also how our discipline of marketing moves forward. We cannot be the marketers of the past. We have to be the marketers of the future. As always, if you like this video, please hit subscribe, and also that little bell thing so that you get notified of new episodes. Please join me on social media. I do try and get episodes out there as well, just to remind you what's going on, what's being put out. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, there's a page, as well as LinkedIn. You can join me there. So every week I put out a new episode on Wednesdays right now. Keep those comments coming. And you know what? Together, I believe we can solve it like a marketer.